Yes.
I didn't know this meeting was supposed to be in person, or is it optional?
No, it's not alternate. I was going to talk to you later about that, but some people texted me and told me that they were ill and that they couldn't make it because they were ill. So that's why they're virtual. But I did put in the group that it would be in person and we would be in UC 205. All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope that you all are having a great week. We're going to call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. All right. I, Senator Israel, will start prayer. You can close your eyes and bow your head. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered here together. We pray for your guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you will clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, just you can have a seat. We'll talk after. Okay, so now we're going to take quorum. Please say here if you're here, even virtually. Abina Garrett. Here. Alexis McDaniel.
She's here. She's at work, but she's tuned in.
Amaya Carthen.
I'm here.
Ariel Levine has a proxy here. Alechi Egwekwe. Here. Baraka Hazel.
Here.
Brianna. Here. Danielle.
Here.
Heather Swallow. Here. Jasmine Ezel.
Here.
Kayla Jarvis. Here. Kennedy Broussard. LaDeja Jackson.
Here.
Madison Stelly. Here. Zion Rouge. Okay. So we're going to take this time to allow the senators to look at previous Senate meeting minutes and approve the last Senate meetings. Can I have a motion to approve previous Senate meeting minutes?
I, Senator Sally, motion to approve previous Senate meeting. I, Senator Israel, second that motion.
Okay. Also, just to approve today's agenda, can I have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I, Senator Swallow, move to approve today's agenda. I, Senator Garrett.
First thing we have on the agenda today is the executive report. President Yucott, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vice President Mayweather. I hope all of you are well, senators. I hope you're having a good start to your week. Here we are on Tuesday. So in the executive branch, we've had a couple things happen. We had the SGA office open, so soon our Department of Communications will be publicizing that to the student body. Our SGA office is open 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and 12 to 4 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and is staffed by our executive board, our presidential cabinet, and our Department of Communications coordinators as well. Our cabinet directors have been well at work with their administrative contacts. So each cabinet director has been paired with an administrative contact in the university to get stuff done. And they are led by the Chief of Staff, Malia Edmond, and Deputy Chief of Staff of Bruna. Samuel Abdelatif has had a few meetings with the provost and the director of student success to start looking at how we can establish a stronger connection to the Office of Academic Affairs. We'll also be having a couple of university committee meetings coming up. Director of Diversity and Inclusion, and Associate Director, Neka Ogbor, well, Thailand National Neka Ogbor. They have an event coming up this Thursday, actually, and it's going to be publicized soon called Div Talk. It's a Div Talk, Diversity Talk, where we're going to be discussing some matters that are dear to them. And that's in collaboration with the Office of Inclusion and Social Justice. Sydney Barrett, our Director of Health and Wellness, she's been onboarded with the Center of Health and Wellness staff, as well as Ms. Jean-Jacques in housing and residential education, to start looking at how we can communicate our concerns regarding Sodexo specifically, which is what she's working on with Ms. Jean-Jacques, but health and wellness. I know we all have some concerns regarding mental health, and so she'll be working with them to facilitate a couple of wellness days, SGA wellness days this year. And so she's working on that right now. Morgan Red is our Director of Food Security, and he's been well at work trying to get Gumbo Garden off the ground, which is going to be pretty much a fresh garden that he's working on with Mr. Glenn Caston in the Office of Inclusion and Social Justice, getting it off the ground, as well as keeping the upkeep of Vincent's Vault, which is a food pantry in St. Mike's, with Miss Lisa McLean and Mr. Glenn Caston. And so he's working on that right now. We're also looking at establishing food pantries in at least one micro food pantry. It should be established soon if it hasn't been already, in the Hilton. Rashid Walker is our Director of Campus Innovation. He has started working with Mr. Marion Bracey, the Vice President of Facilities Planning and Management. And they're working on some things. For example, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but one complaint we received was that the lights in the library were flickering. And some of our students have stigmatisms in their eye. And so when they're trying to study, their eye starts twitching. And it's a little painful for some of them when the lights are flickering so much and they can't focus as well. And so Rashid got on that and communicated that to Mr. Bracey, and that is being fixed as we speak. We're also looking at a couple of cool things that I'll be happy to share with y'all later on. Eliza Bowling, our election board chair, and our new election board, they have worked and successfully facilitated our fall election. And so we have our freshman class councils. Our freshman class council is almost complete. We have a couple of open positions. Appointments did conclude today, the application. And so we're gonna go through the vetting process, and then eventually I'll be selecting people who will stand before you for presidential appointment. And Samantha Empadu, our Director of Public Safety. They just finished Cocoa with the Popo today. That was 5 to 6 p.m. They also had some stuff to give out around 12 p.m. today. She's working with Ms. Serena Davenport, our Associate Director of Public Safety and Deputy Chief. And she's done a great job making sure that we do have a student representative supporting that that office. And so they had a successful event today, and they'll continue to work with Samantha to make sure that we continue that line of communication. When it comes to me, there are a couple of things that I've done, but as far as I know, this is sort of really the meat of what we focused on this past couple of weeks. I yield my time.
Thank you, President Ucott. Senators, do you have any comments or questions? Just about you. Okay. Keep up the great work, President Ucott. So moving on to the next thing in the agenda is new business. The first thing I want to do is let the new senators introduce themselves. So if you would like to come to the podium so you can speak to our Xavier rights as well.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Kayla Jarvis. I am a political science major from Houston, Texas, and I'm excited to work with you guys in the future.
Thank you. You don't have to stand in front, but they just need to be able to hear you. If you're all over there, they can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Kennedy Broussard. I am a chemistry pre-pharm major, and I'm excited to work with y'all, and I'm open to people contacting me for anything.
Thank you. The next thing we're going to talk about is I'm going to introduce a new platform called Monday.com. You all should have received emails from them, and it's a sign up. It's pretty much just a task website to be able to give tasks to people. And I'm going to pull it up, and I'm also going to share my screen.
Just work with y'all, and I'm open to.
Monday. So this is monday.com. For the people on YouTube Live, this is free for all students. So you can use this for, creating tasks, like if you have a group project, or even if you're just, in class and you need to keep yourself abreast of everything, this will remind you as well. So we're specifically in the Student Senate. So I'll click here. You guys can click there and we'll click on Student Senate task. So as you can see, each committee that you all picked last time, it has a little section in the task area for everyone to be able to give themselves tasks, or I can give you tasks and things of that nature. So just to show an example, so rules committee. So you just type the task in there. So like I did, create a list of ideas of legislation you want to write. It'll show here that I created that log and when I created it. And then you'll have the requester. So I requested it, so I'll be the requester. However, you can click, you can change the requesters and things of that nature. And then task leads, that would be someone who you want to do the task. So say for instance, I needed Senator Garrett to do it. Then I would click on Senator Garrett's name. Her name will pop up here. And then here, as you keep scrolling over, you have priority. So you can click high, low, medium. So the person who assigns the task will be the person to put whether this is something we need done now, like high is really important, or oh, it might not be that important, but it's still important. So you put medium, or low, it's okay, well, I need it, but it's not that important. And then you'll go over and you'll create a date. So let's say 22nd to the 23rd. And then the due date, I could make it the 23rd. And you can click what time. So let's say it's 12 p.m. That's just an example. Once you click that, everything is kind of prepared for the person who is supposed to be completing the task for them to go and do things. So they would start here under, I never picked this. All right. They would start here under status, and they would be okay, I'm brainstorming, or I'm stuck, or I'm working on it. I'm waiting for a review. Maybe you've posted the things and you need it to be reviewed. And then once everything is done, you'll click done and it'll scratch. It'll highlight green, scratch out the due dates and everything. So here you can put in a project link. So say you made a promotion video and you put it on YouTube or something. You can put the YouTube link here and everybody who's in the Student Senate can see it. So we can all hold each other accountable for everything we're doing. And then also say it's a bill or a resolution or something of that nature. You could post it here as well. And that way all the senators can see it once again. So it's just another way to hold each other accountable, make sure that each group is being able to communicate well, due to coronavirus, you can't really meet up. So maybe this is a good way to you text and be hey guys, I put something in the task, we need to get it done. Or hey, Malia put something in the task box, let's go take a look at it. Because it's going to email you. And it's also going to email you before the due date. You have 1 day to complete this assignment. So that's cool, everybody? Everybody likes the idea? Okay. And lastly, on new business, we have Muna to come speak. He would like to present something to the to the Student Senate, sorry. Muna, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today? So I would like to propose two things. And the first one being, I would like to propose there be can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, a one-party ticket. So where for elections going forward, the president and the vice president would run as on one ticket, basically. And the reason behind this is so that there can be a sync between the president and the vice president, and this would affect all class councils and also the larger SGA at large. And my second proposal is, I would like to say that senators be autonomous in the sense that they focus solely on crafting legislation and policies that communicate the students' best interests to others and the administration. So each class would have senators representing them in the SGA Student Senate, and they will be independent of the class council and effectively stand as the legislative branch instead of being intertwined with the executive branch. And this would empower students to communicate university level issues, not only to the executive board of SGA, but also to our senators. Class presidents will still be able to communicate concerns to the senators, and senators will be able to present at class meetings on behalf of the Senate. So this gives senators the opportunity to focus on passing legislation that relates to their agenda. And should the class council have initiatives that would involve passing bills or resolutions, the class president will relay this to the class senators, who in turn will present it to the Senate floor. The main job of class councils, for me, I think, is to unite the class, and the main job of the Senate should be to pass legislation, present and discuss Senate matters with class and the student body. So, and from the Senate's recent bill, SB 77001, the vision of the Student Senate is to write legislation that will be impactful in the student government association and student life in general. It is also to support diversity of our student body, not just by promoting programs and organizations, but through legislation, which is the important thing there. And right now there's a conflict of interest. All three branches are supposed to be separate, but work together to ensure efficiency. But presently in the legislative branch, senators are split between their class council duties and legislative duties, and are effectively working in two branches of government at the same time. So this measure would allow the Senate to fully function as its own body and be one of the most effective congressional sessions we've seen on campus. And also, one second. So the senators will be empowered to stand as the primary legislative leaders of their class instead of having to go through the class councils. That's basically what I'm proposing. I yield my time.
Thank you, Muna. Does anybody have any questions about what he's proposing so you can get clarity? Or just questions in general, or some, if you guys want to discuss about what he's proposing?
I got a question about the person. Just go. Can you hear me? Can you?
Yeah,
Yes, I
he
can.
hear you.
Okay, you hear me? Okay, can you just explain the first thing you wanted to get past first? You said something about vice president and president on the same ticket. Because me
Okay.
personally, I don't really understand that. So
So
explain that.
right now, what happens is for the class councils and the larger SGA, the president, a candidate, potential presidential candidate runs and is elected, and a vice president too runs and is elected. So what I'm proposing is that a president runs and they pick their running mate, just like it's done. So they pick their running mate. And so it'll be one vote, one ticket. So once if the students decide to vote a certain candidate, then that person's pick of a vice president would be, they would still present their candidate and have speeches and all. The vice presidential candidates would still have speeches so the students can get to see both candidates. But the main reason behind it is in a situation where someone runs for president of a class or the larger SGA and someone runs for vice president, but then they have different visions, it would be a conflict of interest. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Cool, thank you.
Remember to say your name so that when they take your meetings, you do. I forgot to.
So I'm Senator Brianna Simmons, and okay, so to your second point, when you said that you wanted there to be like a separation essentially between like the Senate, could you like clarify that second part? Because there was like a lot going on with that. Like specifically, like what do you want separate? Because you said like we were sharing, I guess, responsibility between like class council and something else.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I think so. So what I'm saying is right now, the senators are part of the class councils, and the class councils, their duties are to provide programming, to unite the class. But what I'm saying is a separation and they're also part of the executive branch, because there's a part in the Constitution where it says the executive branch and it lists all the people who are in the executive branch, and senators are there. But then what I'm proposing is that they be moved so it's like a lateral shift. They be moved to the legislative branch. And so what that means is they wouldn't be subject to policies made from the executive memos or policies made from the executive branch, and they would have like autonomy. So it would be the student senate. So, but each class would have a senator, but they're no longer the class council. So what that would mean is separation of powers. So each branch would be autonomous to empower each member. So senators won't be part of class meetings, class council meetings. That's basically it.
Okay. So is there like a concern that like the executive branch will influence the Senate branch too much? Is that like why you feel like we should have that? Or like
So
what do you think the reason is like for you bringing that up? Like what is
okay,
your concern with it?
so my concern is my main concern is oh, so my main concern is that the senators are being preoccupied with more than what they're supposed to be. So it's to make sure that they're focused on actually making legislation that will help. So if students have concerns, right, instead of, so the senators have enough, they can focus on making legislation that can help the students' concerns rather than also being involved in class council programming and all that. So it's just basically so they can focus solely on legislation, not about, there is the thought about the influence of the executive branch, but that's not the main reason. It's so they can focus solely on legislation and we can have more legislation or legislature passed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ugo. Does anyone else have any more questions? Okay, thank you. So now the next part of the agenda is just committee sessions. So I wanted to allow some time for you all to like meet up and actually talk and actually complete your first task, which is to create a list of ideas of legislation you want to write within your main focus. So does everybody remember what groups they're in? And if you two could come up here after, but do you guys remember what groups y'all are in? Okay, cool. So y'all can like socially distance and meet up for roughly about 15 minutes, and then we'll open the floor for you guys to discuss.
But we just met last week and pretty much did what you said.
Okay.
For them to do, so.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. The senators have finished discussing. And first, we're going to have Senator Ezell come and talk about her ideas. Oh, Senator Garrett come talk about her ideas. Or their ideas, because it's inclusive. And you're also going to be talking to the senators that are here too. Okay. So just kind of, if you stand like right here, they can hear me. So like, they'll be able to hear you and everything. Introduce your committee and the point of the committee.
Yes. Okay, my name is Senator Garrett. Hello, everybody. We are with the Health, Wellness,
Health,
Sustainability. Yeah, Health, Safety, and Sustainability, sorry. And our proposition is a decompression room. Basically, for the sanity and the mental health of the students here at Xavier, especially during these unprecedented times. There's a lot going on, so a decompression room will basically be a safe space for students to go into and just ease their minds. So a few things that we have for the decompression room
would be aromatherapy, sound therapy, stress balls, have like bean bags, wax melts, or like a diffuser with essential oils of your choice. Some pictures on the wall, relaxing pictures, plants around. Zion said some lights, like dimming lights, stuff like that. So this is just a couple ideas.
Yeah. Not set in stone, but you know,
Right.
something to build on. Yeah.
Something to build on.
Yes.
Okay, so that's great. Just a few things. I really like the idea. I think it's something that could be written as like a resolution. So you guys want to make sure that you really work closely with the people who are a part of the health, safety, and sustainability part in the cabinet to make sure that that's not something they're already planning. So you're not writing a resolution saying like, whereas we need some, we need a safe place. They might have already started creating it. So if you look in the SGA Student Senate Survival Guide, you'll see that information. You can reach out via email and CC me in the email if you send me. Okay. But that's great. Everybody, round of applause. Thank you. Heather?
Oh. Yeah. No.
All right, cool. I'll just cool. Okay.
All right. Zion, if you could like turn your chair just a little bit. No, you can.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Danielle's not here today, but me and her met last week and discussed some ideas. We're on the Committee of Academic Affairs. And so some of the ideas that we had were more transitional programs for freshman students that are more proactive to help them like adjust to college learning versus like reactive programs. They're already failing and they need to like pick it back up. So yeah, some of those like ideas include re-implementing a program called Xavier Love, which is like a 4-year mentoring program for students. So every freshman student would have a mentor coming in, like assigned to them. Yeah. Another idea we had was to lower academic scholarship GPA requirements. I know, and y'all know, a lot of students have been complaining about the GPA requirement. And so that's something that we're trying to get done as well. Another thing is implementing transfer scholarships. And so I know like for a lot of people, they might come into Xavier with maybe not the best grades, maybe not the best scores. And as a result, they don't have like a really high scholarship. And so we think it would be a good idea for like students to be able to prove themselves once they're at Xavier. So like scholarship opportunities for sophomores, juniors, and seniors that have been excelling already. So yeah. Yeah. And also another idea that we had was like some type of legislation to hold professors more accountable, especially during like online learning. I know there's been like a lot of tension and problems, so that's something we're thinking about.
Okay, those are all great. It's Brianna.
Hey everyone, I'm Senator Simmons. I'm in the Committee of Diversity and Inclusion with Amaya Carthen and Ariel Levine. And so we had basically three groups that that we felt needed to be included more overall on campus. And those groups were pharmacy students, they were commuter students, and overall the male population at Zula. Overall, we are mostly comprised of women at Zula, but we also want to make like the men here feel like they belong as well. So just like maybe having events or proposing legislation that involves events that include male geared interests as well as women interests. As far as like pharmacy students, like maybe having events that specifically kind of mention pharm students so they really feel like they should be there and want to be there. And as far as commuter students, I know that being a commuter student, I'm going on my third year here at Xavier, and safety is like a really, really big thing that I don't think has been touched upon specifically with commuter students. So every day, a commuter student, especially a native one, that's from New Orleans, the ones that don't use the shuttle, the ones that are not at the Hilton or anything like that, they have to go home. So at the end of the night, when we have like a long day of studying, we have like late classes and things like that. There's that walk when you have to go to your car, you have to go to the bus, you have to go here and there. And a lot of the times I'm by myself. And I know a lot of my other commuter student friends are by themselves. And it's just like a major safety concern. And I think that if we can propose some legislation geared toward that in specific, that would be really, really great, considering I just think it's something we don't think about a lot, especially since a lot of students probably aren't commuters. But of course, we care to listen like everybody else. We want to feel safe on campus just like everyone else. Also, maybe improvements to the commuter student lounge. Right now, it's there. And we appreciate it, but I definitely think that some more level, like a higher level of comfort in the lounge would be like really, really appreciated. Like maybe like a TV, maybe some better paint, like something as simple as like a brighter color, so it doesn't look so gloomy. It feels so like hot and warm when you walk in it. For some of us that have classes like later in the day, we have to be here really, really long hours, especially like me, when I have like a meeting or someone else has like a really long meeting, they're here all day. So if you don't have friends all the time that can like kind of house you there with you, then you're kind of stuck and like really uncomfortable. So I know Amaya's in the group. I don't know if she wants to tune in and say something as well, bringing in her points. So yeah.
Amaya, would you like to say something?
Brianna pretty much covered everything. Really, those are the three groups we want to help to include. Commuter students, males, and what else? What was our third one? Pharmacy students, yeah. It's been brought to my attention by a few people that pharmacy students feel not as included on campus as undergrad students. It kind of seems like they're just two different entities or schools essentially. So I do think that we need, I don't know about more events, because I feel like all of the events include pretty much everybody, but I do think we could do something or at least publicize more to the pharmacy students that they're welcome to any of the events on campus, or just more events that will include everybody on campus. And as far as males, I know that we've been trying, at least for the last few years, we've made some initiatives to include the males on campus, like Men on the Move, I think is the name of the program. But there's been a few initiatives, but I do think we could do more as far as including the males, or at least making them feel welcome on campus and included in a lot that we do, because it is a primarily women, they're pretty much our women in all of the at least organizations and e-boards. So I do think if we could do some type of mentorship program, which I think Men on the Move is a mentorship program. I really don't know, but some type of way to make the males feel more included and like they have a say so in that their presence is seen on campus. So yeah, that was it.
Thank you, Amaya.
That's pretty much it. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, everyone. The last committee is the Rules Committee, and I will be working really closely with the Rules Committee, so I'm going to speak on their behalf. I know some of the ideas that we talked about were to change the Constitution in the sense that we want to make it more inclusive. A lot of the Constitution, it says she and he, but however, everybody doesn't identify as she or he anymore. Some people identify as they, them, theirs. So we want to try to make the Constitution more inclusive. Another thing is, I really like the idea of Muna with the whole Senate proposal, creating Senate and making it its own governing body. While I do think it's essential to allow, senators to work with the class officers, I feel like what he presented was not saying that. Instead, it was saying allow the senators to not make it seem like the senators have legislation, and that's a lot. They have all this class stuff and have to go to all these class things as well. So it just alleviates some of the stress from the senators so that they can focus directly on legislation. And Muna, I just really think that was a good idea that you presented. So those are some of the ideas of legislation that would take place for the Rules Committee. So yeah. Lastly, are there any questions, concerns?
I'll make an announcement.
Yes.
So, as you know, we are approaching a very important election. And so it's important that you all are getting registered to vote, supporting each other in that registration process. I know that Tia Alexander is being very helpful and thoughtful, but we're going to be trying to do some more information to make sure students know exactly what they need to do to be able to vote. We've partnered with an organization called HBCU Heroes, which is a national group that initially started to help support HBCU and raise awareness about HBCUs in sports, but they have recently created a program called Adopt an HBCU, where they've recruited celebrities to come in, adopt HBCUs, and to leverage their relationships and partnerships to amplify our voices when we begin telling people what we're doing about voter registration. So Xavier has been adopted by Chris Broussard, Fox News analyst. His family is Rappi Xavier Gold, both his parents are alums, his siblings are alums from Xavier. And so he is retweeting, posting on Instagram, anything that we put out about voting, about voter registration and that sort of stuff. So as you begin to create legislation, begin doing programming around voting, please make sure you tag Chris Broussard and HBCU's Heroes, and they will then share it with their constituencies and in their social media networks so that more people know what you guys are doing at Xavier as it relates to democratic engagement.
And then also, if you did not know and you are not registered to vote, Chief Justice Tia Alexander has created days for you to come and register to vote. It's going to be on Wednesdays and Fridays of every week up until October 27th. And it's going to be located in the lobbies of the UC, NCF, Xavier South, and College of Pharmacy. So Wednesdays and Fridays, be on the lookout for that. And you don't have to write with the pen to sign up. We have QR codes because, social distancing and everything. So it's real fast and easy. So yeah, if you're not registered to vote, go vote. Go get registered. First. Yeah, register first, then vote. But yes, so that's pretty much all. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I, Senator Swallow, adjourn to end this meeting.
I, Kayla Jarvis, second that motion.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming out. I hope you have a wonderful evening.